Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
Did you ever blood dope or use blood transfusions to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
Shut up, Lex.
Hey guys, this is Faster U4, brought to you by FitLab, Tailwind Nutrition, Biomax and Capital Cycles. If you're a cyclist and you want to go faster, then let's giddy up.
Don't stand on my dog or I cut your head off. Say hello.
Hey guys, listen up. It's time for money down your pants. That's right. So I've got a limited offer here for you from the bikini-clad women and guys, Biomaxa. That's right. So it's exactly like the Tory Brewery, except it's not beer. This is the best biogrease, bio-lubricant, chamois cream, bio-wash, biodegreaser you can get, made in New Zealand in Christchurch. You're going to go to biomaxa.com, fill your cart till it's just it's virtually overflowing, and there's stuff just falling out all over the sides with all of these delicious bio-friendly items for your bicycle. You're going to rock up to the counter and you're going to put in the code. Right, here it comes. 10% off the whole lot, 10% off all of the products, and they stick it in boxes and get it to your door for free. Free shipping. So go online. This is for online. You're going to rock up there. You're going to put in the code. The code's Steve Bale Fit Lab. Pretty simple. It's on the screen there. Capital S and capital B. And the Fit Lab bit is all in capitals as well. So you know we're going to do it. Look guys, the thing about the lube is it just does not come off. You've got to do a special process. It's not like a regular lube, but it's insane. Coming up winter, you cannot have a better lube for your chain. It's indestructible. The grease is a great all-round grease, nice bio grease for your components. So you're going to lube up your headset and the bottom bearing and all that for the water in winter. And look, I got to be honest, chamois cream, you're going to stick your hand down your pants, you know, as you do, and slather it right down there with a lovely bit of chamois cream, and you're going to ride so much better. And the kind of the rain and the cold, and you know, you do get to legitimately stick your hand down your pants, and I think that's a win all around. All right, Steve Bale Fit Lab, 10% shipping, products, you know what to do. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Here we go. Let's record. There we go, we're recording. Boom. Okay, so now if I sound a little bit crazy, you know, that's obviously partly situation normal. It's partly because I'm a bit distracted by the fact I'm eating my lunch here. But the main reason is because, yeah, I didn't record when I thought I was recording this 5 minutes ago. I wasn't. I spent half an hour talking to myself. Good thing for you is, the benefit to you is that it's going to be condensed. So there you go, lucky you. So you get cozy, you know, take off your pants, and let's have a look into micro data from two of my power meters, namely the Quarq D0 and the PowerTap SL. It's one of those older PowerTap ones that's got sort of the carbon fibery looking stuff around the hub. But it's a really good workhorse. Alright, and what I was going to do was look into three things. I was going to look at these power meters, how accurate they are compared to each other. And I was going to do that over three conditions. One sort of piece of micro data, 5 seconds, one a minute, and one about 7-8 minutes hill climb. And for the for these, I also wanted to try to measure the recordings relative to an objective standard. Now, I did that in the last video with the hill climb as a whole, and I could do that because I used a calculator, inputted a bunch of variables, and it's reasonably simple math to determine how much power you need to climb that hill. So I compared that against what the power meter said, and they were really good. They were close to each other, and of course they were close to the standard. So it was great. Now the thing I noticed immediately about trying to pass out data from these short bursts is that you can't compare them to an objective standard. You could if you had some sort of lab equipment, but your dynamometer, but you can't in the real world because the elevation rise is not able to be accurately measured enough. I mean, I guess you get out there with surveying gear and lasers and whatnot, but that's not going to happen. And figure it out. Even then, it might not be accurate enough. So that key piece of information for working out objectively how much work is required to be done for a given rise, you can't measure that with a 5-second burst of power, or even really a 1-minute burst of power, because even if the hill's quite steep, you're only going to be climbing a very small, maybe a couple of meters elevation on a 5-second burst, and maybe, I don't know, 10 meters or 20 meters or something for a 1-minute burst. And even if that's out by a meter or two, of course, that's a huge proportion of the whole. That's almost entirely, not invalidated by the hill climb as a whole, because if say for example the hill climb is 150 meters elevation, even if you're out by a meter or two in determining that, well, it doesn't really matter because it's a very small proportion of the distance as a whole. So I guess this can be quick if you're looking for a summary into whether or not the power meters can be objectively measured to to a standard on the road. No, they can't, but they can be measured compared to each other, and I've gone and done that. So let's have a little nosy just for fun, really, because this will give you an ability to compare devices between bikes, say. So here's the bursts on the Quarq and on the PowerTap. The 5-second sprint, it's just a little 5-second sprint up the road. It wasn't full power or anything like that. I'm just trying to get an idea for how accurate they are compared to each other. Now, if we want to highlight a section here for Quarq, let's start here where the power has started to be applied and where it's stopped there. It's about 7 seconds in this place. Gives me an average power 329. Let's compare that against what the PowerTap says. PowerTap says it's quite a lot higher there, 559. So that's more than 100 watts out. That's not great. Now you can see one problem with this is there's only a discrete. The way the data gets to the head unit is in these discrete units about 1 second apart. So even if you miss one of those in a 5 or 6 second burst, that's a huge proportion of the whole. Again, so it's very hard to measure. You see this little bit if you're looking at the picture. Do you include that bit there? I don't know. And what about this? So this is on the Quarq. There's a whole piece here where the power, it says, is close to just about 200 watts. Now that might be a misreading. And if that was part of a series of data which was over anything over about a minute, it's only a 1 second piece of data. It's a very small proportion of the whole, but in a 5 second piece of data, it's huge. So really, no, there's not really a way to, I don't think, easily compare even the accuracy between each other. So yeah, one of the things that this came from was the most recent Cycling Tips podcast, where one of the representatives from a company called InfoCrank was talking about the devices not being very useful for very short-term bursts. I didn't really know, and I think this proves that they're probably not really useful for measuring that. It's a bit of a different question as to, can these devices measure that? Well, maybe they can, but in the way that you can bring it up between the device and the head unit and the software is such that you can't accurately measure it. So if you, oh, you be quiet, silly dog. If you wanted to measure, you shut up. If you wanted to use this for either of these power meters for something that really did require accuracy in a tiny time frame like that, some sprint on the track or something, it wouldn't be that useful. So let's look at the slightly longer term data here though. And so I did 2 1-minute bursts, roughly 400 watts. So the purpose of doing this is to see if that's long enough for any irregularities between, you know, those 1 second pieces of information transferred to the head unit to be fudged out to give reasonable accuracy. Now again, for the reason I just mentioned, you can't really tell against an objective standard, unfortunately, because the rise in the road even over a minute is not accurate enough to be able to be determined. So let's scratch that. What you can say is that there might be a good level of correlation between them. So let's actually highlight here on the Quark. That's where I started applying a power. That's where it came off. 1 minute 4 seconds, 388 watts for the Quark. Power tap is, move it over there, 394 watts there. 388 versus 394. So it's within 6 watts. That's pretty good. That's certainly within 2%, which is pretty good. Let's see here for the second test. I just had a little soft pedal for about a minute there. Started applying a power here. Took it off there. That's for the power tap, 392 watts. So we've got the Quark. Power on, power off, 390 watts. So that's only a 2 watt difference. Look at that, 392, 390, yeah. Only a 2 watt difference for the 1 minute. So obviously that's within well under 1%. So it seems like maybe if there's something to take out from this, if you did have different power meters on different bikes, assuming that you had, you know, like these 2 power meters, maybe you can't really say it for other brands, but it's likely that you could probably get reasonable accuracy between devices or between bikes, if you like. Anything over probably about 30 to 45 seconds is going to be pretty good. You can see there 5 seconds is hopeless. You know, I imagine that 10 seconds, well, you're going to have 10 pieces of data information there, and if even one of those was skew, if that's 10% of your data set, you know, it's a huge proportion of the whole again. When it gets out to about a minute or about 60 pieces of information, it obviously becomes quite a bit more accurate. So yeah, maybe 30 seconds, anything after about 30 to 45 seconds is starting to get looking pretty accurate. So I think that's pretty good. So yeah, one up for the InfoCrank guy. You know, there may be devices and maybe ways of setting devices where they can, for instance, record a higher rate or something like that. I'm not aware of that on either of these 2 devices. Whether his device he was talking about, the InfoCrank, can do that or not, I don't know. I suspect the fact that he was talking about it all the time indicates that you can, and he's probably suggesting that the actual data that comes off it is going to be more accurate as well. And you can imagine with this, if you wanted to determine accurately your max, like the absolute max wattage number you can hit for any length of time, these devices are going to be highly unlikely to tell you that, because you are highly likely to reach your max power somewhere between those 2 1-second pieces of information. So, and that could be, you know, maybe not a huge difference, but if it was something that was really important, you might want a better way of measuring it than devices such as these. Having said that, of course, for 99% of people, more than that, 99.9% of people, those very, very small differences in the micro data aren't really going to be relevant. So, yeah, I mean, I'll leave it there. It's about 30 to 45 seconds is probably the minimum you want to have for really good accuracy. based on the information from these two devices. So, for instance, I don't know what stages would do, so I'll try that. I suspect it'll be about the same, and it'll just be because, as the data goes on, any device is going to become more and more accurate because of the fact that any errors or issues about that data are going to be less and less a proportion of the whole as time goes on. You get it? Okay, well, I hope that helps. I hope that was vaguely useful for looking at just a real-world application between a couple of different meters, micro versus macro power. I think we can say, micro, it's not good. Macro, big tick, that was good. And somewhere in the middle, after about 45, maybe a minute, yeah, that's good too. We'll give that the tick. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching / listening to Fast You Fall, brought to you by FitLab, Capital Cycles, Stable Nutrition and Biomaxa. If you'd like to get in touch for a coaching program or testing, you can get hold of me, Steve at fitlab.co.nz, or go to fitlab.co.nz. Talk soon, guys.